Hello, Krishna. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming. Great to see you. Um, not so many of you here. In the temple where I live, so I live in North Florida, in a place dramatically Gainesville. And we just had a big festival there, a big town festival, with chanting, with 2,000 to 3,000 people, and a lot of young people actually, a lot of kids, people of all ages. Maybe you don't see so many young people. We need young people. If you have any children, we have a lot. But basically, this must be everybody. Everybody is a part of us of Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Father, so everybody has a relationship with Krishna, even though you don't realize it. Like Krishna is your best friend, he's your father. He wants the best for you. So he is opening all these different temples all over the world so that people can actually see God. That, this is a form of God. Krishna is God, he has many different forms. So these particular forms are very wonderful. But actually they're not different from God. So in India they have so many temples, and millions of people go to these temples, even though Krishna appeared many, many thousands of years ago. Lord Ram appeared millions of years ago. How many of you have heard of Lord Ram? So Lord Ram, he appeared in the Bhagavad-gita. There's four religions, the Golden Age. Satyuga, Surya, Chaitya, Vansa, Yuga, this age is the Iron Age, this is the West Age, Kali Yuga. So he appeared in the Chaitya Yuga millions of years ago, but still millions of people literally are going to the temple to see the deity of Lord Ram. Because India is called Bhumi, Punya Bhumi, the land of piety, which means that people are very more spiritually inclined in the Western countries. So there are these millions of people are going to different temples, not just to see Lord Ram, there's a temple in the street corner. So all these temples are very vibrant, full of life. But in America, you see, they have Art Basel right now. Art Basel. Anyone been to Art Basel? People are strongly to go and see some pictures, some meaningless paintings. Even the most famous artists in the world, Picasso, Van Gogh, Dali, have no idea who they were. They have no idea. They were soul and body. The pictures that they learn about pictures about sunflower and nothing in life. So this is the modern world. We're very ignorant in this world. I'm trying to distribute books outside without very different. Please. But this is when you try to enlighten people, this certain people think about who remain in ignorance. At least here, because it's at the sanctuary, even though we have so many of us, but this is a sanctuary where we can come together and hear about Krishna. And there's not too many places in Miami, Miami has, I don't know how many million people in this area, a couple of million, 2 million people in Miami, but how many in here? These are most important because they're interested in their own spiritual journey. Who am I? Why am I here? And this is the most important thing in life. Figure out who we are and how to be happy, and how to escape any problems that this world presents, which are manifold, many problems in this world. So anyway, we're now singing a simple song, Bhagavad-gita. It depicts Krishna in Vrindavan, and Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago in Vrindavan, and he spoke the Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavad-gita, which we made the song now. So, Srila Prabhupada, he would be singing a simple song before he spoke about Krishna. This song depicts Krishna in Vrindavan as it was originally, beautiful river, the river Yamuna, and Krishna's there, and he has many friends, counted boyfriends, he has female companions, and his chief consort, Miss Radharani, she's there. So this is very wonderful. Krishna also, and he lives near Govardhan Hill. Govardhan was a mountain which supplies the cows. Cows are very important in society. They give you very much important food, community, much milk, every other. Anybody who supports an application gets so much benefit. So, I don't know if you know the words, but if you don't, how many of you know the words? Jai Jai Mata.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Bala Vivaranari Gopi Jana Bala Vivaranari Yashodanandana Yashodanandana Unatira Manachari Unatira Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Bala Gopi Jana Bala Pranandana Pranajana Ranjana Unasira Manachari Yamunasira Manachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
So now we're going to read a verse from the Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavad-gita is one of the three most important books in the world. Bhagavad-gita, and then the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. Bhagavad-gita is about 700 verses. And then the Chaitanya Charitamrita is the history of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. On the altar on the left, the two figures, the bronze figures, that's Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya, he is the incarnation of God for this age. It says, Krishna Bhanam Tusa Krishnam Sango Pangasta Pasadam Yagyai Sankatam Priya Yajanti Sameda Saha. So that is Sanskrit, and it's a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the second most important book in the world. And that verse means that in this age of Kali, this age of woe, the Lord will appear, Krishna will appear, but he won't have the same color form as Krishna. Because Krishna has a blue form, but his body is not material. Like we have a body that's perishable. We grow old and we die. Krishna's body is always youthful. He never gets old. So his form is blue, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's form, his incarnation appeared 500 years ago, he has a golden form. And so the two figures, there's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then Krishna has a brother, God has a brother. We have two twin brothers here. So, as man is made in the image of God. So God has a brother, God has a female energy. So he has a brother, and his brother is called Lord Balaram. And Lord Balaram descended with Krishna 500 years ago and assumed the form of Lord Nityananda. And Nityananda is Sanskrit. Nitya means eternal, and Nanda means full of bliss. So this is actually everybody's nature, Satchidananda. We're all eternal, full of knowledge and full of happiness. But when we accept a physical body, we have this physical body, then we're subject to the whims of the material world. Too much heat, too much cold, hurricanes, tornadoes, disease, death, old age, these are all problems. So therefore this Krishna, he spoke the Bhagavad-gita 5,000 years ago. And so this particular verse is in the 4th chapter, text number 9. It's a famous verse. I'll say the Sanskrit. If you want, you can repeat it. Janma kama chame divyam evam yo vatitattvataha chatva deham punah janma naitimam eti sorjuna. So the meaning is, Krishna knows everything. He's not like an ordinary person. If somebody claims to know something, the chances are that their knowledge is defective, because everybody has 4 defects. We make mistakes, we're subject to illusion, we see things, but when we get closer, we see it wasn't what we thought it was originally. and we have imperfect senses, we can't see our own eyelids, we can't see in the dark, and then we have a tendency to think we know more than what we do. That's a cheating propensity. So if you want perfect knowledge, you have to get it from a perfect person. So Krishna, he came here 5,000 years ago, and he exhibited the characteristics of a perfect person. Everything he did. Even his representative, Srila Prabhupada. There are many biographies written about him, testifying to the fact that he was a perfect person. Because we don't say he's the only perfect person. There may be some others. We glorify Jesus Christ. He's also a perfect person. But Srila Prabhupada, he wrote many books. He wrote 70 books. He wrote 4,000 letters. He gave many lectures, many interviews, many conversations, all recorded, right from when he first arrived in America. So there are many biographies, at least 20 or 30 written biographies, books describing how he was such a great personality. So tomorrow, as Narayani, she gave the introductions. So tomorrow is the birthday of his guru, because every guru has to have a guru. That's the way it goes. You can't suddenly appear out of nowhere without any credentials. You have to have a guru. So that chain of disciples is called the Parampara. That goes right back to Krishna. 5,000 years ago, he was the original speaker. And so this knowledge has been passed down very carefully from person to person without any change. So the knowledge does not need to be changed because it's eternal, it's ever fresh. So here in this verse, Krishna is saying the one who understands, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains to my eternal abode. He's speaking to his friend Arjuna. So if we can understand that Krishna, he's not a person like you and me. He doesn't get forced to come to the material world. We don't know where we were in our last life. We don't know where we came from. We have no idea. We can't remember what we're doing even yesterday or last week, what to speak of when we were 1 or 6 months or 1 day old. We have no idea. But we had a previous life. And Krishna says, prior to this, in the chapter 4, he says, many, many births and I have had, O Arjuna, I can remember all of them, but you cannot. So we can't remember the past. But we have many lives. And Krishna, he comes to this world to enlighten us, because we're born in ignorance. We're born with a physical body. So I ask people, when I go out to distribute books, because I go out and I try to give people the Bhagavad-gita, and I say, what's the difference between a dead body and a living body? And some people say, well, it's not breathing. They don't understand that the consciousness gives the body life. So they live for the body, but they wouldn't be alive without the consciousness. So they're not focusing on who they actually are. This is the problem. So we're different from our body. But Krishna, when he appeared, his body was actually eternal, full of knowledge, full of happiness. So when he came here, he stayed here for 120 years, but he never looked older than 18 years of age. So Krishna is inconceivable. That's the first thing we have to understand about Krishna, that he's beyond our imagination, he's beyond our power of reason, he's transcendental. So, we have very limited imagination, but nobody could possibly imagine how great Krishna is. If you read the Vedas, it explains how one of Krishna's expansions, called Mahavishnu, he's creating many universes. But we don't really know, how can we possibly know that there's more than one universe? We don't really know. But we can't say that there may not be, there may be. So we have to get knowledge from the Vedas. The Vedas are the source of knowledge, and they're very scientific. There's a branch of the Vedas called Ayurveda. How many of you have heard of Ayurveda? Some of them. Some of you. No. So Ayurveda is the knowledge of the body and what disrupts your health and how to keep good health by living the right kind of lifestyle. This is Ayurveda. Western medicine deals with problems caused by living the wrong way. Ayurveda tells you how to live properly so that you don't have problems by abusing your body. So that's one branch of Vedic knowledge. Veda means knowledge, it's a Sanskrit word. So just by reading someone's pulse, you can judge somebody's mentality, somebody's health problems, etc. So anyway, this knowledge is very important. So if one could understand that actually there is another plane of existence, this is not a real world, this is a dream world. But we're thinking it's very real. But it's actually, because it's temporary, it's just like if you have a dream, you dream so many things at night, and then you wake up and you found out that it wasn't what the dream purported it to be. So similarly, this world is not what it appears to be. It's a very temporary world. We identify with our physical body. I am black, I'm white, I'm young, I'm old, I'm American, Indian, whatever we are, Cuban. So we're none of these things. So this is the first item in knowledge, that we're much more than just a physical body. And then Krishna says that if we can understand him, who he is, then we don't take birth again. If we can accept that Krishna descended from the spiritual world, he came here out of compassion. So compassion is a very important quality which it finds its fullest extent in Krishna, because Krishna, he doesn't have to come to the material world. This material world is actually a miserable place. If you read, there are descriptions of the spiritual world. There's no other scriptures that actually explain life in the spiritual world, what it's actually like there. But it's indescribably more wonderful than the material world. The material world, even the nicest places, there's always some defect. So the spiritual world, that is the real world. So we should make a plan to try to go back to the spiritual world, because that's the only place you'll actually be truly happy. As long as you have a physical body, there'll always be some problem. Because you may not have any disease or anything, but everybody has to get old and everybody has to die. These are problems: birth, death, old age, and disease. So that doesn't exist in the spiritual world. The spiritual world, every living being is eternal, full of knowledge, full of happiness. And everybody is engaged in service to Krishna. So Krishna, he is so inconceivably great that he has many innumerable beings who love him, who serve him, because he can expand himself into many forms and accept the love. He's in everybody's heart. But when he comes here, he performs many wonderful miracles. And if we hear about him, which that's why reading these books is very important, if we hear about Krishna, what he does, we become attracted. So, for instance, there was one lady, Kubja. She was, when Krishna came, he appeared in India, and he appeared in a place called Vrindavan or Mathura, and then after some time he moved to Mathura. When he entered Mathura, this Kubja, she was putting sandalwood paste course, we don't know much about sandalwood paste, but sandalwood paste cools the body down, because in India it gets very hot, especially in the summer sun. And so she was putting sandalwood paste on the forehead of the people that entered into the city. But she was a hunchback. So she offered Krishna the sandalwood paste, and he noticed that she was a hunchback, so he picked her shoulders up and he straightened her up, and she became a very beautiful woman. And then she wanted to have a loving relationship with Krishna. But Krishna, he doesn't need to have any loving, not like that, what kind of relationship, but she wanted that. So he pleased her. But the point is, he did so many amazing things when he came here. Of course, people think this is simply kind of fairy tales or something. But actually, if you go to India, there's so many places where all these incidents took place, and people have been worshipping those places for thousands of years. And when you get to a certain point, like Socrates is still famous. People still study Socrates in university, go to university in Miami, wherever. So Socrates, when he was found to be the most intelligent person in the Greek Empire, they told him this, and he said, "Me, no, I know nothing. I'm just a fool." So that's the beginning of knowledge, is then we realize that we really don't know anything, and we're all very ignorant, and that we need help. So Krishna comes to the material world. He came to enlighten Arjuna. Arjuna was his friend, he was a warrior, and he was confused about his duty. We may not know what our duty is in life, because most people think their duty is to make a lot of money, get a nice car, and just maintain a family, or be a good person if they know what a good person is. But actually, one's duty is to re-establish one's dormant love of God. That's one's duty, because Krishna is your best friend. He designed you to love him, and if you practice spiritual life, you'll feel that this is the most satisfying thing. So unfortunately, they don't teach this in school, because we have our own schools in North Florida, in Alachua. We have a school, and my grandchildren go to that school. They have about 150 children. All the teachers, none of them eat meat, fish, or eggs. None of them take drugs or alcohol. None of them have extramarital sex, or none of them gamble or speculate. So these teachers, they're bringing the children up to be ideal citizens. So that is really the job of the government, but unfortunately in this day and age, even the government, they have no idea what life is really for. Life is meant for becoming spiritual, becoming perfect, because every living being is an inherently perfect being, but we've accepted this physical body, and we identify with this body. So Krishna, he's saying here, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in the material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Otherwise, if we don't attain the eternal abode of Krishna, which is called Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means without anxiety. So there are many planets in the spiritual world. The highest planet is Goloka Vrindavan. This is the planet where Krishna lives. Shri Shri Radha Bhaja Vihara Ki Jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai, Shri Gaunataya Ki Jai. So Krishna is inviting us to go back to the spiritual world. So it's very easy if you want to go there. you just come here regularly, you chant Hare Krishna, we chant the mantra, we do it with musical instruments, or we do it with beads as well. You chant, and gradually you'll see how you're ascending towards the spiritual world. You're giving up all your old bad habits. You're becoming a different person. You're becoming enlightened. Like Dharma Prabhu here. He's done this for 54 years. He's very faithfully serving the deities. So how could you do that unless you had faith in Krishna? So I've done it for over 50 years, 52 years, never once sort of giving it up. And I'm getting more and more knowledge, because knowledge is unlimited. We might think that, if you study all the books at FIU in the library, you'll have some knowledge. But even if it was spiritual knowledge is totally unlimited. You could write millions of books about Krishna's activities. So we should try to hear about Krishna and try to chant his name, and then automatically we will realize the absolute truth, and we won't take birth again in this physical world. So try to read the Bhagavad-gita. It's very important. Try to study it, and try to come here regularly and attend the classes, and your whole life will take on a different meaning. So I'll stop here. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. You have special? Yeah, okay.
So knowledge is
What?
knowledge beyond is completely useless without the right way to apply.
Knowledge is what?
Useless.
Useful.
Useless.
Oh, I mean, well, I wouldn't say it's...
Without the right way.
I mean, you can have knowledge of how to build a house. That's good. I mean, we use computers, we use, everything. I mean, if you know how to fix a car, you save a lot of money. We use cars. So there's material knowledge and spiritual knowledge. So really, when you're living in the physical world, you do have you need some knowledge of how the world works and how things go here. So it's not like all knowledge is useless, but without Krishna consciousness, it's useless. Because if you have knowledge, if you build a beautiful house and you become too attached to a beautiful house, there's a story of somebody who had a beautiful house and he was very wealthy, and when he died, his next birth, he took birth as a cobbler. Because everybody has their karma, you have a next life. So when he went to his previous house, they didn't know who he was because he had a different body. So he knocked on the door. He said, "Have you got any shoes to repair?" And they started throwing old shoes at him. So, he built a beautiful house, but next life, what did he get? So we can be very expert in knowledge, but if we have no knowledge of who we are or how to make spiritual progress, it doesn't have a lot of value. But we do need, we need a certain amount of knowledge. I mean, I have to spend a lot of money fixing my car. I can't afford a new car. So if I could fix it myself, I'd save a lot of money. But it's important to grow. The most important thing is how to grow food. Nobody knows how to grow food. Because if everything collapsed and nobody knew how to grow food, it would be a real bad state of affairs, right? So therefore, one of the objectives of the Hare Krishna movement is actually to provide farm communities where people can grow healthy food. No, nobody, we know how to make nuts and bolts and Teslas, but we don't know how to grow food. And all the poor Mexicans are being rounded up and kicked out. And they generally are the ones who do all the work on the farms. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Huh? I'm a bit deaf, I think. What's that?
You say if you can practice the rest of your life, you will get zero
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point. Krishna's saying that here, that, if you practice properly, I mean, you can start on a very low level, but ultimately we want to perfect our practice, right? But it takes some time. It may even take more than one lifetime. So Krishna says, after many, many births and deaths, Pahunam Janmanamante Gyanavam Rampapajite Vasudeva Savamiti Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha. That's a famous verse in the Bhagavad-gita. Later on, he says, after many, many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, that all that is, such a great soul is very rare. So, there's not many people who realize Krishna's God. A lot of people believe in God, but they have no idea who God is. And if you try to tell them that Krishna's God, they don't believe it. But, the word Christ comes from the word Krishna. Christ was on the cross. He said, "O Father, why hast thou forsaken me? Nobody can go to the Father except through me." So he made a distinction between himself and his Father. So Krishna is the Father. So, but the process, it depends on how serious you are, how much you really want to, perfect your life. If you're really serious, you can do it in one life.
From the existence of the soul, there is a controversy that scientists are trying to find out. Scientific means the soul is situated in the brain of the body. Now, my question is, how can we identify the soul? I think what you they're saying, this is the same, that we have Jivatma, right? And the super soul, both in the heart. Now, my question is, how can we identify this identity, which is not material, it's beyond time and space? Time and space is material. But the super soul and the human soul are not material. So they're not bound by time and space.
No.
How can we detect a practical means to find out that's true? It's a practical experience.
Well, Prabhupada gave the example of, a little boy who dies. So the body is lying on the ground in the kitchen, and the mother says, "My little Johnny, he's gone. There's no life in the body. The soul left the body." So the soul, Krishna says, the soul is invisible. It's so tiny you can't see it. It's described that if you take the tip of a hair and you cut it into 100 pieces, and you take one of those pieces and you cut it into another 100 pieces, that's the size of your soul. So it's invisible. And the super soul, you see, basically we have to believe in the inconceivable nature of God, that he can be invisible. So he's in your heart. Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, says, "I'm seated in everyone's heart as the super soul, and I'm directing the wanderings of the living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy." So he's in the heart of every living entity. But because we have defective vision, But we can't see the super soul, we can't see the soul in the body. So therefore we have to read the books, because the books explain all the things that we can't conceive of with our own defective senses. Okay, alright, well, do you have one question?
I'm sorry, I was in the habit of a Christian when I was a Christian and just happened to have a whole conversation with God throughout my day.
You were having a conversation with God?
Just not with him responding necessarily, but just having a whole conversation.
Right. That's good.
Is it disrespectful to do that to Krishna, or is that?
Do we do that ourselves?
Like I know that we chant together, but for me to have a open, like just regular dialogue with Krishna about what I'm eating for lunch,
I mean, that's a very advanced stage to for God to converse with you. Or you can offer your prayers to God. You can say, well, thank you very much for this beautiful vegetarian food. Right? But if you're eating meat and you're thinking that God's happy with what you're eating, that's a mistake. Because ultimately, to make any spiritual progress, you have to be 100% pure vegetarian. Because Krishna, he is the best friend of all living beings, and animals, especially cows, are very dear to Krishna. Of course, you could say that even vegetables have life, why are you killing vegetables? But in answer to that, we say that killing a human being is punishable by, either going to prison for your life or getting electric chair, whatever, something. So killing a human being is much more of a sin than killing an animal. And killing an animal is more of a sin than killing a plant. But Krishna doesn't want you to starve, because Krishna wants you to be healthy, to serve him. So therefore, he's given so many varieties of food, so many vegetables, so many fruits. I mean, you can hardly count all the different types of fruits. And all the spices, you can make so many different preparations. Last time I was here, I was talking about this one follower of Srila Prabhupada who he asked her to write a cooking book, and it had 2,000 recipes in it. See, in the West, people are very ignorant about culinary expertise. So, they don't know how to cook, basically. Nothing really tasty. Not if you've tasted our food, anyway. So Prabhupada called this the kitchen religion. So even if you're killing vegetables, okay, so therefore, to exonerate yourself from the sin of killing a vegetable, okay, it may not be a major sin, but you have to offer the food to Krishna, because everything is grown by the grace of Krishna, because you don't control the rain, you don't control the sun. So therefore you can't grow any food on your own without the help of higher powers. Do you understand? So we need rain, we need sun, and therefore we have an obligation to those higher beings that are controlling these things, right? So therefore we offer the food that we eat to Krishna before we eat it. And he says, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf of flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. So we offer it with love. We love Krishna. Krishna is so kind. Einstein didn't invent a banana or a grape or an apple. These things are gifts of God, right? So all these different types of fruits are unlimited fruits. You can eat them. Krishna provided them for us. You offer them to Krishna, and therefore you make spiritual progress, because you're offering your love to Krishna. You understand? So you can offer a prayer to God while you eat. You can say, thank you so much for this wonderful food, and Krishna will be very happy with you. Okay? Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anything else?
No,
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, everybody. Please come again. Now I think we have a nice vegetarian feast. Please come into the back room, Aaron. Hare Krishna. Haribol. Hare Krishna. How are you? Yeah. Hare Krishna.
So glad you're back.
Huh? I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd like to see the temple flourish. You know, you can sit on the chair, don't I? No, no, sit